Good morning, guys. Want to go over some new material, but of course, as always, there is a new joke. So today's joke is, what do you call a bee with a bad hair day? So a bee who has a bad hair day? That would be called a frisbee. You get it? Frizzy bee, frizzy bee. Got it. Alright, I know you're laughing out loud right now. Lol, all that stuff. Okay, but now let's dive into the text. So I'm at page 272. Make sure you open up there, and you should probably take some notes as you go. That might be helpful, or you can just watch and see how I do it, and then go on your own. But the assignment's up on the board, but I'm on page 272. We're going to start there and go through some of the examples. So here is our first example. Now we're kind of using the same idea, we're building on it, of creating a fraction out of a statement. And so that fraction is called a ratio. But now we're going to be talking about doing units. So kind of breaking it down to make sense a part of our units. So our first problem here on page 272, example number 1, and it's A, and it says it's $11 for 4 boxes of cereal. But we want to figure out how much is it for just one box, per box. So we're going to need to do some math. So what I did here is I wrote it out. Now again, you have to forgive me. The handwriting's bad, but the really non-sensitive smartboard really makes it worse. So please bear with me. But we have $11 on the top because 11 is first, and then we have 4 boxes. So it's really important that you write the units. That is really important with this because it's going to be part of our process of getting our answer. So we're going to simplify it, and you're going to need a calculator, so you could use the one on your computer, or you could use one that I have or ask for one. But when we break it down, when we do $11 divided by 4, we end up with 2.75, and we'll just do the dollar sign, that's a little bit easier, over 1 box. Come on, 1. You know it's a 1. 1 box. BCS. No, that's a box. Come on. There we go. 1 box. So $2.75 per box. Alright, we can stop there. That's it. So that makes sense. So that we know when we break it down that that would equal $2.75. Now this is important if you ever become a college student. This is what I would do, is I'd scan the grocery store and look for these deals and see how much am I going to pay per box. So this is stuff that you're going to use in real life, or if you're ever doing any kind of grocery shopping and they talk about sales, is that you can do this real math to get cheaper deals so you don't have to pay as much money. You get more food for less money. So this is the real deal. Okay, let's go on to the next problem. Let's go to example. We're still on example number 1. Let's look at B. So this is another real world one. So this person went 400 miles on 14 gallons of gas. So we got 400 miles over 14 gallons. So we want to figure out what is the mile per gallon. So we're going to divide 400 by 14. So we end up with just 1 gallon. And how much did that person travel on 1 gallon of gas? So we know our bottom is going to be 1 gal, not a gal like a girl, but 1 gallon. And at the top, it's going to be 28.6 what, gals? Nope, 20.86 miles. Ooh, squeaky. 28.6 miles per gallon. That's how we break it down. So that's actually pretty good. That's what most cars, like a Toyota or a Honda car, would get gas mileage if you're driving on the highway in the lower 48 or even in Anchorage area. Okay, so that's our very basic problem, is just breaking it down so our denominator, this guy right here, is 1. We want to make that equal to 1. And we're just making a statement. You guys have always heard miles per gallon, probably in commercials. So that's the very first step. Now we're going to take a look over at page 273, and we're going to talk about comparing unit rates. So now we're going to compare 2 different unit rates. Which one is greater than, which one is less than. So here's our example. So our example is an online music store sells 15 songs for 12 bucks. So we got 15 songs, and that's going to cost you 12 bucks, $12. So that's our first one. So that's online, something like iTunes. Another online music store, maybe Amazon, sells 10 songs for $9. So now we're going to do another one, 10 songs for $9. Come on. This is pitiful. I gotta fix this sometime. 10 songs for $9. So we're gonna break it down. Who's the cheaper per song? Which one are you gonna pay less per song? So we gotta break it down. So we're gonna have our oh no! I made a mistake. I got our denominators and numerators mixed up. Crap. Alright. So we're going to put our 12 bucks up here. My bad, because we want it per song. We want our song to be 1 at the bottom. So we got 15. Darn it. Here we have $9. And that gets you 10 songs. Alright, because the reason why I got it mixed up is if we had the dollars on the bottom, it would be per dollar. How many songs per dollar? But we want to figure out one song and how much that's going to cost. So our song is going to be on the bottom for both of them. Because that's what we're trying to find. And we're trying to see which website offers a cheaper price per song. Alright. So we got to do 12 divided by 15. So when we do that math, again, that will give us 0.8, so 80 cents. And if we do 9 divided by 10, that would get us 9.9. Okay? So that would be 90 cents for a song. So which one offers the cheaper price? So now you're going to make a greater than or less than comparison. So we'll just do cents. So is it going to be 80 cents or is it 90 cents? Which one is lower, is cheaper? Well, obviously 80 cents. So our first website is the one that we want to use. We'll get more music for our money because it's cheaper. Instead of having to pay 90 cents per song, we're paying 80 cents a song. So that would be our answer, is that we're finding that comparison, this greater than or equal to. So that's what you're going to be working on with some of your problems, is looking for that greater than or less than and making that comparison. Okay, our last example is going to be example number 3, and it's at the bottom of page 273. Now this one can be confusing, so bear with me here. So, it says, use the information at the left to find out how many breaths a dolphin will take in 7 hours. So we're trying to figure out how many breaths, on average, will a dolphin take in 7 hours. So the information on the left says that a bottlenose dolphin, or bottlenose dolphins, breathe through a nasal opening called a blowhole. A typical dolphin will take about 34 breaths in 4 hours. 34 breaths in 4 hours. So let's write that as our comparison. Now remember, we're trying to find per hour, so hour needs to be on the bottom. So we're going to have our 34, we got to write breaths. Per, and that's over 4 hours. Okay? So the first thing that we need to do, remember our question is asking over 7 hours, but first we need to break it down to just 1 hour. So we got to do some math. So we want to end up having 1 hour on the bottom. And when we do 34 divided by 4, that gets us about 8.5. So 8.5 breaths. Alright, you know that's breaths. Oh, this is awful. 8.5 breaths per hour. 8.5. Now, it's obviously not going to take half. It's half of a breath. It's just breaking it down. So now that we have per an hour, we're going to do some multiplication. We're going to multiply our number by 7. But we got to be careful. Here's how we got to set it up. So pay attention at how it's on your page. I'm going to try my best to set it up like it looks on the page. So we're going to set it up as 8.5, just like our fraction is, breaths. So I'm going to put B over 1 hour. And we're doing multiplication. So we got times, and we're doing 7 hours. And think of this as 7 over 1. Just think of it that way. And here's what we're going to do. Because we're trying to find our breath, so I'm going to put BR, which makes that a little bit more like a B than a 6. So we do like just a normal multiplication. We multiply across the top. But just like our fractions, we can cancel like terms out. And so what we want to do is we actually cancel out our hours. Because see how they're diagonal from each other? Just like a normal fraction. We want to treat it like that. So that gets rid of our hours. So then we just have 8.5 breaths times 7. So that gets us 59.5. Oh man, 59.5. And we're left with just breaths. So BR. And that's our answer. That would be 59 breaths over 7 hours. That's how many it would take. So remember, the thing that can be confusing is we got to make sure that we cancel out our units. So for example, here we're canceling out our hours. We've got to cancel them out. Because if we left that in there, it wouldn't make any sense. Because we're trying to find just the answer of breaths. How many breaths does it take in 7 hours? So when you do that multiplication, make sure you're careful to make sure that you have the correct unit. So you wouldn't end up with hours. You got to answer the problem and make sure it makes sense. If you get stuck, ask for help or watch the video steps again, or even ask someone else. We're all here to learn and help each other out, and I hope that you guys can continue on. So go ahead and get started on your assignment. Ask for help if you need it, and continue to be awesome.